Hey guys, Mike Toy, Bonsai Boise. So this is another willow that I have. I call this one Loki. I don't know why, but I do. So a little backstory on this one. And I think I might mention this in another video at some point, but I snapped this off of a branch of a willow tree by the Boise River one day. This was a few years ago. I think it was about 3 years ago. I just swam across the river. Branch was hanging down. I didn't have clippers or anything, so I just snapped it off of there. You know, it was not a clean snap or anything. It was like a lot of wiggling around. Snapped it off. Carried it around for an hour or two. People I was with thought I was crazy. I said, I'm gonna make a tree out of this someday. They're like, yeah, sure. But it worked. I carried it around for an hour or two. You know, held the bottom of it, the broken part, in the water as much as I could. But, you know, when you're walking around, you can only do that so much. Got it home, put it in a pot. It lost all of its leaves initially, and then it started to bounce back, and here it is today. So willows propagate very easily. That was probably the most extreme version that I've ever done that worked, but it worked. So that's where this guy came from. I don't know exactly what type of willow it is, to be honest. It's not a corkscrew willow, I can tell. I don't think it's a bay willow. I think it's some type of weeping willow, but it's just like a random variety, you know, just the kind that are next to the river. So I don't know, I'll figure it out someday. I did a little clipping on it a couple days ago and I kicked myself immediately because I thought, oh, I should have made a video out of this. I haven't really properly introduced it yet. So I'm sorry I already did the clipping on this. I am gonna repot it today though, because it's been in this pot for at least 2 years. I think when I first brought it home that day, I put it in a pot with soil, it grew. A few months later, I repotted it into this, and it's been in this ever since. It's been in this pot so long, I'll give you a close-up. The pot is actually split right down the middle. So it needs repotting. I can see, I mean, as I'm feeling it, I can feel the mat of roots. It's like a sponge. So I'm gonna give you a close-up look at the bark on it, and then I'll talk about my vision for this. So let's go ahead and dive in and I'll give you a look. All right, so here's a close-up. One thing that this guy really has going for it is the aging of the bark. I have no idea how old that tree is, and I wish I could remember which one it was so I could look at the base of it and, you know, get a better idea, but I, you know, haven't yet. So I don't know how old that tree was when I snapped this branch off, but judging from the bark and the way that it looks, it was fairly old. It's got some good aging to it. Let's see if I can, well, that's a terrible shot. I'll back up in a second and show you how the pot looks, but yeah, so branching up top needs a lot of development. It's going to need some correction at some point too, just because it's, you know, kind of comes up and then straight over this 90-degree turn, which I don't like. And then you got a branch coming off here, coming off there, you know. So it's a lot of branches coming off of the main leader at the top, which breaks a lot of the rules, but it's just what I'm going with for now. Willows are very fun. They can also break your heart though, because they have such character to them. They grow so easily. You get all excited about it. And then one winter, half of it just dies back. They die back really easily. You know, a little too cold or a little too, you know, not enough water, that kind of stuff over wintertime. And they're just a little finicky when it comes to dieback. So if you check out Nigel Saunders' page, which I'm sure most of you probably have, he's got a willow he's been working with, and kind of same thing. He was working on it, it was looking great, and then one winter, like half of it just died back. So that can happen with willows. So you got to mentally prepare yourself for that. This one did experience some dieback, and I really wish now that I would have remembered to get some footage of this before I did some cutting on it, and I'll show you why. So I did have one nice looking branch coming out here, which kind of offset a lot of this part. So it was, you know, I had a big branch coming off here, and then it went up and came off there. So, but the entire branch died back to there. So that's one good example of how that works. Let me show you the pot here. So it's been in this training pot for 2 or 3 years, and it is literally bursting at the seams. Not saying that figuratively, I'm saying it literally. You can see it just split the pot right in half. So, you know, you touch it and it just feels like a sponge. You know, that's a big mat of roots. So this whole thing is pretty root bound. So I'm gonna take it out of this and clean it up a little bit. But I won't keep you for that. I'm just gonna put it in another training pot, just as ugly as this, because Loki likes ugly training pots right now. That's what he prefers, so that's what we're gonna stick with. So anyways, that's a closer look at Loki, the willow tree. I'm gonna zoom back out now and tell you what my longer term vision is for this guy. All right, so that's the close-up look. So my vision for this guy is, so the trunk is very, very long and straight and relatively skinny because there's no taper to it at all, as you can see. So I thought, you know, how do I want to do this? Do I want to air layer it right in the middle, you know, and that way I've got something here? Or, you know, how do I want to do it? I mean, heck, I could just snap it in half and do it. Apparently this guy can take that, but I don't want to do that. So my vision for it, my long-term vision for it, is to keep the trunk the length that it is and continue to let it develop up top and have it kind of a longer, more elegant flowing out. Now, if I do remember right, it is of some kind of weeping variety, so it should eventually weep out. That's what I'd like to accomplish with it. That's not written in stone or anything, that could change, but that's what I'm gonna go with. So therefore, I'm not gonna air layer it, I'm not gonna snap it in half or cut it or anything like that. I'm just gonna let it continue to develop. I wish I would have remembered to do this before I clipped it the other day, because it had some structural things to address, and it still does. I mean, it's still breaking rules. It doesn't come up and split into 2 and then 2 into 4. It kind of comes up and just goes out, and then branches coming off of that main leader, which breaks a lot of rules. You know, it could get some reverse taper or something. So I'll have to keep an eye on it, but that's what I want to do. I have thought about taking this part off right here and letting this be the new leader. And someday I still might. I don't know. One thing I don't like about it is I don't like this sharp 90-degree turn right there. So I'm hoping that over time that's going to smooth out a little bit. And that was one reason why I thought about taking it off there or even there, is I thought maybe that will, I don't know, somehow get it to smooth out this sharp turn right there. And I might even kind of nibble away at this part. I don't know, I'm still kind of debating on how to handle that, but this is more of a long-term vision that I've got for it, so no hurry. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. That's Loki, the willow tree, my little guy that I snapped off of a branch and carried around for a couple hours. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'll keep you updated on how it goes, and I'll try to remember next time I'm doing the clipping to turn the camera on for that too. But thanks for watching. Hope you get something out of it. Feel free to leave me some comments if you know what kind of willow it is. Can't tell yet because there's no leaves probably, but you know, and like and subscribe if you haven't yet. You can see updates on this one and some others that I've got. I've propagated this one before, so I've got another smaller version of this guy out there. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your night.